Welcome to the Jam Happy Hour. So happy that you can join us for some wine, some music, and just getting to know some artists a little bit better. Tonight we are being joined by Ilan Bell. Milan, without the M, Ilan Bell. It is such a unique name. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. You nailed the name.
Oh, well, the night is young and the wine is fresh. So cheers to you. Thank you so much for being here. We've got
Oh
an
yeah, let me
hour to
grab it.
just, yes, you have to do a proper cheers. We have an hour to just kind of hang out, get to know you a little bit better. Your fans can get to know us a little bit better
Awesome.
and just kind of discuss what's going on in your world right now, other
Sounds
than some
great.
tasty wine.
Well, that's the highlight for sure.
I think the next the hour of music can be a highlight as well. And I do always like to kind of jump right in and kind of set the tone for the evening. So you and I were discussing offline, kind of giving a little bit of highlight into the song and maybe where you were at when you wrote it or mentally where you were at where you wrote it. So what would you like to start with tonight?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with this song called "Something Else," and it's not out yet. So
Ooh,
folks here are gonna get an exclusive preview. And I wrote it on the subway, just on my phone, just the lyrics. And then I was gonna go meet my brother, and I said, "Can I go by your apartment real quick and use your piano?" He's like, "Yeah, sure."
oh,
And so then I set it to music. And for today, I'm gonna play it on guitar. Um, but um, but yeah, that's how it happened.
beautiful. Well, here's something else kicking off the Jam Happy Hour. Thank you
All
so much
right.
for being with us.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks for having me. Here it goes. She has no shadow, just a silhouette. She has no experience with regret. She'll crash your party and your car. She'll be the only one dancing at the bar. She always takes the joke too far. She's something else. She's something else. And she's not fragile. She's been hurt before. She leaves her inhibitions at the door. She travels light. She's always late. But you know, she's worth the wait. And she never learns from her mistakes. She's something else. She's something else. And I don't know how to carry myself around her. I got something to lose. Since I found her, I have no control. I have no control. She can outshine the sun in a black dress. And she's not afraid of loneliness. She smells like cigarettes and perfume. She knows the city. She owns my room. And if she wanted, she could have the moon. She's something else. She's something else. And I don't know how to carry myself around her. I've got something to lose. Since I found her, I have no control. I have no control. But she has a vision and a plan. She can hold the wind in her hands. And you never know which way she leans. She's nobody's baby and everyone's dream, unlike anyone I've ever seen. She's something else. She's something else.
Ilan Bell here in the Jam Happy Hour with us. Something else, an unreleased tune, but I find it very interesting. There was a lot in that introduction. You have a musical family.
Let's unpack.
Let's unpack, because you run to your brother's to use his piano.
Well, see, that's the funny part. I actually don't have a musical family, but I made them into one. So I taught my middle brother. I'm the oldest of three. I taught the middle brother piano and the youngest guitar. So now I have a musical family.
I love that.
I forced them into it.
What did you pick up first? Like as a kid, you realized that, hey, I'm really into this music thing. Like what did you gravitate towards?
Like I was just like kind of a weird kid, and I just love the flute of all things. Like I was just obsessed with the flute.
You and Lizzo.
Yeah. I know. I was ahead of my time, honestly. And then I picked up the saxophone, which is a whole nother story that we can talk about for this next song. But then guitar, then piano, because I wanted to sing, and I couldn't have an instrument in my mouth if I wanted to do that. And
good deduction.
Yeah, and now I just, I write and produce for other people, so I play all the things, kind of have to these days a little bit.
Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're working on something for another artist and you're like, oh, hey, wait a minute, maybe I want to keep that?
Oh, totally. Like, you're not really supposed to give away like your best songs, your best hooks, if you have a really good title. And before I actually was an artist, I was just a writer-producer, and then I would feel that way all the time. I was like, man, that was a good one, and it's not mine anymore. But it's still a little bit yours, still a little bit yours always.
Yesterday would have been Prince's 65th birthday.
Ooh.
And I was doing a little bit of digging, and you know how he had written Manic Monday, initially, I think, for himself. And the rumor is that he was trying to woo Susanna Hoffs. Totally his type, by the way. I can see that. And so he gave her the song for the Bangles.
I see. Well, we definitely shouldn't get into industry drama, because there's just, we could, a 1 hour show is not going to cut it, for my own life. But
we'll start a series.
That checks out. That checks out to me.
Well, it's one of those situations where, like, where you've given something to somebody else, and then, like, maybe for half a second you're like, oh no, like, pull that back. Maybe.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good reason to give somebody a song, as far as reasons go.
I mean, he did all right.
He did okay for himself.
Yeah, I think that was one of the cuts that maybe didn't make the album. So
right.
I find it very interesting that you can be so focused on you and your sound and what you want, and then you still find that great freedom with working with other artists. Do you find inspiration from that?
Totally. I mean, like, I think working with other people I wasn't so open to collaborating before, because I'm such a like singer-songwriter, and the whole point is like you write and sing your own songs. That's what the genre is. But I guess I just started working with my friends, and I was like, man, this is so much more fun than writing alone in my room, Yeah. And then that would kind of come into the songs, and so I just was like, man, this is there's something to writing alone, and especially if you're going through stuff and kind of pain can be a little bit more private, so it's nice to have that space. But there's something about like a collective experience that also is like just as worth putting like into a song, So
a different kind of cathartic.
Yeah, 100%. It's like group therapy, versus therapy.
I haven't really broached that world just yet, but maybe I should with songwriting. I can totally see that.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers to therapy for everybody at home. What is the best way to keep up with what you've got going on? Because all of a sudden you're very, very busy. You've just released music. You have like the single that just came out last week.
Yeah,
maybe like a week and a half ago. How's that been?
It's been great. So right. I mean, I really wasn't an artist until fairly recently. I was mostly writing and producing for other people, but so this would be my first album, and I've been rolling it out in singles. That one was a third, And, I think I'm just as surprised as anybody that they're doing pretty well. I think I was just so used to writing for other people. I kind of,
Right.
I don't know if underestimated myself, but I just wasn't really the focus of what I was doing. And I was really kind of nervous to put stuff out there, and be the artist, because there's nowhere to hide when you're the artist,
No.
And I'm just like relieved a little bit, but mostly excited to see that it's sort of, people are responding to it and it speaks to them. And it's been great, like just getting to hear people's stories and how the songs speak to them,
Well, I definitely want to get into that, because
Yeah.
once you do release it into the world, it is no longer yours and it becomes something completely different. But
Totally.
again, this hour moves like really fast, and we're already like
We're
10 minutes in.
Are you kidding me?
I know, it's crazy.
I don't know if I can
had
curse.
you had alluded, it's fine. We're all
Okay.
adults here. We're drinking our wine. You had alluded to
Good point.
saxophone earlier.
Oh, good memory.
Oh, yeah.
I gave you like 10 stories to work with there. All right, I'm going to put my wine down really far away from all my gear.
As you should.
Oh,
And while you do that, I'm going to remind everybody that if you want to follow along with Ilan on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, there's a ton of content out there. It celebrates the new music and kind of really the whole journey of becoming this artist. So you can see the links right there. And it's so important to like and click and follow and share and playlist, because all of that goes so far in the industry these days. So if you like what you're hearing, definitely do a little bit of that. And what do you have coming up for us next?
So this next song is called Anna, and the story behind it was that when I was like 13 or something, I went to camp, and I was playing the flute at the time, and there was this like really cool girl. Her name was Anna, and the only problem was she was like way on the other side of like the band or the orchestra, and she played the saxophone.
Wait, was this band camp?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was a
Okay.
total band geek, like proudly.
I love it.
And so I made this plan where I was like gonna come back next year learning saxophone, playing saxophone, and just like sweep her off her feet, I guess. And
So
so
you could
I
be
went
closer
back.
to her.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Talk,
God, I love
like
this.
Prince's, like, but when I was 13, Prince's story, and
the way you
so I
think.
did that, and I came back to camp, and I was really good at. I mean, I got a scholarship for saxophone. I went all in. She didn't come back to camp.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I know.
That's tragic.
Haven't
Did you ever
heard
track her
from
down?
since. I think it gets a little creepy when you're trying to track down like a 14-year-old. So I never really made that much of an effort, but she might hear this song, and I mean, it's really just about kind of like puppy love and how
First
we
crushes.
feel things, yeah, so strongly, when we're
Yeah.
younger, and it,
Oh, yeah.
as we put up walls, it gets a little harder to kind of be so open-hearted. So that's what this song is about.
I'm super intrigued now. So Anna here, Ilan Bell in the Jam Happy Hour. Cheers to you. You guys enjoy.
Okay.
Walking down these empty streets, sideways rain and midnight heat. Remember how you used to say, you can call me any day or night. And I hope you're living somewhere warm. I've been writing, but I don't perform. Remember how you used to say, it's all gonna be okay, yeah right. And I didn't know we were running out of time. I didn't know I would fall so far behind. Oh Anna, oh Anna, when I lost you, I almost lost my mind. On an empty subway ride, memories from the other side. Losing your apartment keys,
No fireworks on New Year's Eve to light. And you caught me in another lie. Taught me how to say goodbye. And I don't know what else to do. I'll end up falling back to you tonight. And I didn't know we were running out of time. I didn't know I would fall so far behind. Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I know. When I lost you, I almost lost my mind. Crowded sidewalks thinking of you. Fall asleep still thinking of you. Loving her but thinking of you. Dark December thinking of you. Wish I wasn't thinking of you. Loving her but thinking of you. And I didn't know we were running out of time. I didn't know I would fall so far behind. Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. When I lost you, I almost lost my mind. I almost lost my mind. Oh yeah, no.
I feel like she would appreciate that song.
I think so. You know, it's
Yeah.
sad, but I think it'd be nice to hear that about yourself.
I mean, there was the whole "Hey There, Delilah" thing, which didn't go over so well. But I think Anna
Oh,
would
really? I
like
don't even
that
know how
one.
that story played out. That is a great song, though.
It's a great song, right? Apparently, she wasn't all that thrilled. But
Really?
well, she got
Oh,
a lot.
boy.
The song got really big, really fast, and a lot of attention. So I'm sure she was like,
Mm.
"What?"
Yeah, I can see that. I can
Could
see
happen to
that.
Anna too. So you might want to give her a heads up and do a little Facebook stalking.
Yeah, good problem to have, I feel like.
So summer camp was a thing. Obviously, you were in music at a
Yes.
very young age. You actually, your education is based in music. I mean, well, no, not all of it. Yale for undergrad.
Yeah.
Smarty. That's very awesome.
Stop it.
I would just go for the T-shirt, but not you. No, you had to get the whole degree. Kind of awesome. And then Berkeley College of Music for songwriting and production, which is wow.
That's right.
Has it always been what you wanted to do?
No, definitely not. No, I mean, like, I think in my heart of hearts, yeah. But when I was at Yale, and by the way, I just had my 5-year reunion, which was a lot of fun, and I
I
just aged
bet.
myself. But
You're fine.
I wanted to back at Yale. I wanted to go to law school, and I was really kind of like serious about it, and I took the LSATs and everything. But I think something inside me just knew it was wrong, and so I did this kind of cliche thing, and I went to Paris for a year to find myself.
Nice.
And I at that point I just decided that music I had to really like go all in and pursue it. And so yeah, I mean, being sort of the type A person that I am, I'm like, how do I make that happen? I was like, okay, I'm going to go to school for it. It wasn't
Yeah.
like I'm just going to go and gig at a bar or something like that. And so that's how Berkeley happened, and I got my master's there, and that's kind of how I learned a lot of the technical stuff, and how I learned how to produce and have a studio here. I wish I could show it to you, but I got a desktop computer, so I can't really move it around.
No, I mean,
Can't give you the tour.
if people who listen to the JaMHappyHour know that I'm a studio nerd and I love to get into equipment and all kinds of things, and we'll nerd out on microphones and processing and programs and Adobe versus Pro Tools. And it really is kind of amazing what you can do. And the fact that, you think back to your influences and the people that you listened to growing up that musically influenced you, and all of that was, carts and 8 tracks and tape to tape, reel to reel. Like, it was all done analog. And now, and you had to have an entire team of people to do it.
It's
Now
so
you
different.
can literally make radio quality music in your phone.
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried on my phone, but yeah, I mean, I do it on my laptop all the time. You know, if I'm going to a studio that's not my own, you know, I have
Hmm.
all my sounds and plugins that I like, so I'll just take my laptop and you have a whole band in there and more. You know,
So,
so
from having influences in from a very different era to making the music that you are now, if you had to pick one, would you live in an analog world or a digital world?
oh, I feel like yeah, some people are just ahead of their time. I'm like I totally am like an old soul, and I would have loved to be like in the 60s, 70s. Um, and sort of like, I mean, this show is kind of cool because it forces you to just have a guitar or a
Hmm.
piano, which I'm going to kind of move into in a sec. But,
Hmm.
you know, I think I would have been totally artistically satisfied if that's all there was. But now
Right.
knowing that there's so much more, um, you know, I kind of have to not just adapt, but you know, it's just once you've heard it, you can't unhear it, you know, and you want to
Right.
explore that too.
You have to
But I think
embrace
there's
it.
something about just like the core of a song, just a guitar or a
Hmm.
piano, and you know, because the lyrics have nowhere to hide at that point, you know, and my biggest influences are like Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan, and Springsteen, you know, and
Hmm.
so those guys were definitely I mean, they were I don't want to say writers first and then musicians, but they put such a like big emphasis on lyrics,
Hmm.
and now it's easier to hide behind productions and like big tracks, and people don't even listen to the lyrics. But that's not really my
Well,
style.
not true. Not true. I still hold to the theory, which I heard, back when I started in radio, like mid late 90s, that women will hear lyrics and men will hear the music first, and then it
That's so
changes.
funny because I'm gonna grab my wine before I have to perform again. I feel like this
Okay,
is
good.
like my one time to actually,
Same.
yeah.
So yeah, I'd always heard that theory that you hear it all, but initially what grabs you is either a great story or like a great bass line,
See,
and
that's
it's
so
very
funny
different.
because, you know, Spotify has like a Spotify for artists, you know, where you get
Hmm.
all your data. And like
Mm.
almost like I think like 60% of my audience is women. And I, you know, I think that's partly why at least like
Take that, Anna.
hey,
Sorry.
she like didn't know. We can't blame her.
I
There
know.
have been definitely bigger heartbreaks,
Oh.
but you know, so I think it has to do a lot with that. I think it's, you know, I'm a sensitive uh, soul in that way, and
Hmm.
I'm glad that some people just, you know, especially like I feel like with AirPods nowadays, like they just cancel
Oh.
everything else out. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have like the new ones. I'm like obsessed in the city, especially just like. I mean, I'm probably gonna get hit by a car. I'm like not aware of my surroundings at all,
Well,
but
you're
you
not
can
going
really
outside
focus on the
today.
words. Oh, definitely not. No, the sky is like totally orange. I think it's a little better today. I haven't
Yeah,
even gone
Elon is joining
outside,
us from
so
New York City, if you didn't pick up on that. So back to being indoors for a few days while these
yeah.
wildfires burn out. And lucky for us, because that means you're inside and you get to have the Jam Happy Hour here. In the meantime, you take a couple sips of your wine. I'm just going to like
And we're
reset for a
ready.
hot second
No,
because if
yeah.
you're not familiar with Ilan Bell, jump into the socials for sure and follow along. I love the process that music comes out these days, whereas before it was always like the whole dictated album and the plan. And now it's like, again, back to that technology. If you want to drop a single, you can just bloop, and there it goes. So having to wait for the full project to be done before sharing something really isn't the current state of the music industry. How do you feel about the fact that you really can do just whatever you want?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally like singles driven.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, talk about Spotify for artists and data. The, the way the algorithm kind of works now is it just needs to be like constantly fed,
Right.
you know? And so putting out an album would be like wasting the opportunity to put out 10 singles, you know? It'd
Mm-hmm.
be like the equivalent of one song almost. Not quite, but
Content.
um, yeah, it's really what it is. So I mean, I was for whatever reason, like artistically, I really wanted to make an album. So my first album is called American Love. It's 10 songs, but it's really just going to be rolled out as singles for really for that reason.
I'm
But
looking at what may be the cover art. Your
oh
latest
no,
post
the one I
on your
had today,
Instagram.
no,
Hmm.
that's just a little teaser. No, no, I would never post the cover art
What
before
does
the.
the 8623 mean?
Um, See, that's the date backwards because in I'm from Mexico of all places,
Hmm.
and the
It's
month and the
flipped.
day is flipped. So every once in a while, I'll make that mistake. So maybe people will join on the wrong month, But
Well,
the good thing is
8/6/23 is my birthday, so I thought,
maybe that's what it was.
that's what it
Like a
was.
psychic connection.
We'll go with that. I didn't even think about that. yes, you grew up in Mexico, and yeah, it's all flipped around like that.
It's all flipped around. It's like, the metric system and all that.
Oh, that's got to be fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we get lost down to the Dewey Decimal System, let's. I would love to jump back in on a third song as we are almost
Yeah.
halfway through the hour.
That is so sad.
It's so not sad. It means it's beautiful, and we're having a great time, and we're listening to great
Sad
music.
times on happy hour.
Sad times on the happy hour. What would you like to play for us next?
I think the next one I'll play will be the first piano song of the day, assuming this thing sounds okay. If not, I'll just grab the guitar again. But it actually is released. It was the first release. So Anna was the second. It's called Through It All, and it's really kind of what started my artist project. It's
You
really
being the artist.
Yes, me being the artist.
This
was
is the
first
jump
song.
off.
Yeah, this was the first song I kind of played around. Berkeley had some required performances, which I was dreading, so I had to perform. And I don't know, people
But
seem
you're
to
going to
like
be an
it.
artist. You can't dread the
at
performances.
the time, I didn't know I was going to be an artist,
Okay.
And but it kind of forced me to be, and then people just seemed to respond, and it just kind of snowballed from there. But this is what started it all.
All right. Well, through it all here in the Jam Happy Hour, Ilan Bell. I hope you guys enjoy.
When the roses all turn blue and the night gets the best of you, through the distance and the change, through the good times and the strange, I'll be there through it all. When the promise starts to break and the dream comes true, but it's too late, through the darkness and the flames, through the desert and the rain, I'll be there through it all. You should know we can set it all in stone, but only if that's what you really want. 'Cause time is on your side. The door is always open, the light is on. It's always on. But if the magic is just a trick and you lose your touch on every fingertip, through the quiet and the crowd, through the answers and the doubts, I'll be there through it all. You should know we can set it all in stone, but only if that's what you really want. 'Cause time is on your side. The door is always open, the light is on. It's always on. And now the sky is turning red, and there's a fire in my head. Through the cities and the fields,
through what's easy and what's real. I'll be there through it all.
So that's the first one. That's where
the
you were
first
like,
one.
I can do this.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't even think it was me. I think it was other people being like, you should do this.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right. So think back to when that song came into its existence. And, we're talking what, 2 years?
Yeah, just about.
Roughly?
Probably, yeah.
What would you tell that guy today?
Oh, man. That's a really good question. I think
A lot's
I would
happened in the
say-
last couple of years.
It really has. It's really wild.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could talk to my older self. Wouldn't that be something? I think I would say something like, enjoy the ride, and all the things you're worried about either didn't happen or they weren't as kind of a big a deal as you thought they would be.
Right.
And, so just like savor it.
I think that's a great lesson for everybody in all the things. That's very, very well said.
Every once in a while, I have a little bit of wisdom, but most of the time,
and
I
it's
miss
not
the
just
mark.
in song form.
For once.
In that last song, I picked up like a little bit of a Billy Joel influence in there.
Yeah. See,
I just-
okay, this I might be able to show you. Here, can you see on
Oh,
the?
there he's right behind
It's
you.
my left, I guess, is your guys' right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little signed record that he was definitely one of like my big influences when I decided to switch from guitar to piano, because I heard him live at Fenway Park, in Boston, and I was like, oh man, I gotta jump ship. Like I gotta learn piano. Like
I
guitar's
gotta
the wrong.
do that.
So
I
yeah,
did
he's a big one.
Was it just this week he announced that he was going to end the Madison Square Garden?
I know, 150
Residency?
shows I think he did or something like that.
Absolutely bonkers.
It's the dream.
Yeah. I mean, is that the dream? And like, where do you see this going?
That's a
5,
good
10,
question.
15
I don't know if
years
that's a
from
dream,
now?
actually. Actually, thinking of the reality of that, I think that would be a little too overwhelming. Here I am, alone in my apartment drinking wine. MSG, I think, would be a big leap.
Well, tell that to Billy Joel circa 1972.
Yeah, I mean, he also, interestingly enough, didn't start out thinking he wanted to be an artist. He just wanted to be a songwriter, and look at him now. So I think there's something to be said for that. It's just, I think artists that are really like into the spotlight, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like a certain kind of attitude. But if you're really kind of in it for the songs, then and the sort of like success and all that comes kind of secondarily. I think people are actually more drawn to that. It's a little less forced.
I think there's a lot of facets to that diamond that is, being in the music industry. And I think there's room for all of the facets of it. And whether it's you've got a 2-minute TikTok hit and you're going to ride that sucker out, for the next 5 years, good on you.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah. If you
Absolutely.
are an artist that writes a gut-wrenching song that just happens to connect, it's that magic. You can never say what will and what won't. My favorite kind of a moment, obviously I come from the radio industry, is when something hits that nobody would expect. And then it's like, okay, why is this resonating so much? So I think there's room for everything across the industry. I think if you're being authentic, first and foremost.
That's what it is, and I think
And if you're just here to have fun and party, then be here and have fun and party.
Yeah, if that's you, do you. I think just social media doesn't necessarily isn't that conducive to being authentic. I think it's just people posting highlights, and I'm totally guilty of this too. I mean, it's just you kind of do have to, if you're in the industry, have a pretty kind of active social media presence. But I don't know that it's the best thing for the art, for the craft itself. But you just kind of have to stay above the fray, and not lose your head.
Interesting point you're making there. I want to remind everybody we are here in the Jam Happy Hour with Ilan Bell, who is joining us from New York City. Obviously, if you're enjoying some butter with us or water or whatever you're enjoying, thank you so much for jumping in for the happy hour. I love the point that you just made, though, of, with social media, it's very easy to connect with a lot more people all at once. but there is like, I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to tell you I'm having a bad day, but I'm going to have 3 filters on and it's going to be cropped just right.
That's exactly it. I mean, and I mean, it's funny because you can't blame anybody for doing it. But
By the way, we don't have filters on right now.
oh no, definitely. In case you couldn't tell,
Authentic. Yeah, right.
But you know, I think I don't mean to be like the old man who's like, oh, social media. Like I'm not that either. Because
Right.
you do connect with people and it's great in that way. But I do think that like it definitely has, you know, dangers to it. And I just think as an artist, like you have to be like really careful not to get too sucked up in the vortex, you know.
As a
and,
human.
like, as a human, yeah, it's like it's super validating, you know, to get all those hearts and whatever, you know. How can you not be like, ooh, people love me, you know?
You're like, wow, 4 people like me today. I'm having a banner day. But as being in the industry, though, it is a great way to connect, and it's a great way to share your music, and it's a great way to connect with other artists, as you like to do with, you know, collaborations and
Totally. I've
and
met
other
some of my
projects.
favorite like collaborators through social media. So I mean, you know, take the good with the bad, but it's not all good. And I think you just have to like keep sight of, especially like as it just grows, you know, it can just
Right.
become it's like so all consuming. And sometimes I'm like, oh right, it's about the songs, you know, like which is just like it sounds crazy, but you know, this is the first time I'm
Crazy.
performing in a while, and I've been, you know, you got to do the cover art and the post and the this and the that and this. There's just so much that goes into
It's
it
a
that I think
lot.
people don't know about, and I don't even mean to like peer behind the curtain, but you know, um, but you have to like exactly take the good with the bad, and I'm sure in your industry it's exactly the same, and you just got to stay true, stay the course.
By this time next week, I'll have AI doing it for me. So, you know, who
That
needs me?
might be like a really oh you mean to like replace you, or you mean social media AI?
All of it. Like, I saw an ad just earlier today about, you know, I think it was a Microsoft product. I'm not dropping names, but basically it's writing your emails and your texts for you. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
interesting.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. So
It's
like,
coming
where's
for all of
songwriting?
us.
You know,
It's coming for all of us. I'm a little, again, like maybe I am like an old man now, but I'm like totally afraid of it. I'm totally like, my brother's like, it's just like a fancy Google. I'm like, oh no, it's
oh
like my
no.
replacement.
Well, it'll never replace true, endearing songwriting that when you create a song, and whether it's a Through It All or an Anna or, you know, About You or, you know, even, you know, something else, like when you create the song and you put it out and it's out and it is now into the ether with everything else, it immediately becomes something else
Yeah.
to
No, I
everyone else
think
who
you're right. I
hears
mean,
it.
like my friends, they're so annoying. Like we'll write like AI songs and like challenge me, you know, they'll be like, write a Bob Dylan AI song. And they're like, oh, is this better than your stuff? You know, they'll do that to me all the
Aww,
time. And I'm happy to say it's not. I mean, it's really,
that's
it just does
torture.
not like hold up at all
Good.
yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if soon, you know, it just learns. And, you know, so it is a little scary, but I'm sure there's gonna be great uses for it too. So again, go with the bad, which is really what like that last song was about. Through It All was like, you know, kind of taking the darkness and the flames. Well, flames sounds a little negative, but it could have been light, and
Yeah.
just the good with the bad and being balanced. I guess like as I've gotten like kind of more experienced, the highs and lows are just like gonna come, and you just have to like be level headed throughout and not
Well,
get too excited at the highs and not too down at the lows. You know, and
that's Xanax, right?
that's, yeah, that's the secret.
That's Xanax, right?
You can either meditate or there's that.
Or better yet, we'll just drink some jam
Just
and
drink some.
butter. And
I
it'll
feel
be
like we're
great.
such a bad influence here to listeners.
We are not. We're a great influence, especially if they're just getting to know you for the first time. So if you are
Oh my
enjoying the
God.
music, again, add it to your playlist because
So, yeah,
that really does go a very, very long way. And
it
we're going
does.
to
Should
jump
we
off
do
the
another
AI
one?
train. I think we should because
Let's do it. Yeah. Okay.
do you have anything happy in light?
Oh, that's a great question. Literally no. Literally no. Like I'm looking at my set list.
It's been a rough
Not.
couple of years.
It has been, but you know, I think this is like this is how I process like
Oh,
the
yeah.
darkness, you know, like if it doesn't come out in a song, it's just going to stay in here somewhere or in here.
Aw.
So no, like, I mean, it's crazy. Like I'm looking at my set list. It's all
Okay, well, this
sad.
is going to turn into a therapy session then, because I think a goal for 23 is you have to write a happy song. A song with a happy ending?
You know what? This one's not like it's a little neutral. This one's pretty good. Like as good as it gets for me. I'll do
I
this
love
one.
it.
Okay, I'll do
What are
this.
you going to play for us next?
I'll go back to the guitar.
All right.
Because you're right. I like honestly. I mean, this is how I felt about Phoebe Bridgers. I was like, I think her whole audience is just depressed, which is probably why I liked her music. You know.
Exactly.
But I'm the same way. But this one's not that sad. As far as my music goes, it's called "You're Not Lost on Me."
Oh, I love the title. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Here goes.
There's a line out the door for a shot at your heart, and I need you tonight, like the night needs the dark. You're not a face in the crowd, you're not a drop in the sea, you're not lost on me. Just trust me this once, I know what to do. I can take on the pain if you need me to. You're good to the bone, always out of reach. You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. How could you be? You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. You're all I see. And every other guy that ever let you go was out of his mind. But you already know you're no stranger to love, a little in too deep. You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. How could you be? You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. You're all I see. And I laid it out on the line, but somehow you still missed all the signs. Can't you see my aim is true, or am I lost on you? You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. How could you be? You're not lost on me. You're not lost on me. You're all I see. Not lost on me.
You have happy songs.
There we go. Right? That one wasn't so bad.
Oh.
I had
You're
to
not
dig
lost on
deep through
me.
the catalog for that one.
Oh, no. Where did that song come from?
Well, it's not out yet either. I'm telling you,
Oh.
it's a deep cut. It'll probably be like the 8th or 9th on the album. I still got to produce it out. Where did that one come from? I think it was just being on the apps. I don't know what your dating situation is, but if you've ever
Not
been on the
apps.
apps, they can be a lot, and it just can feel, I think, like a revolving door. And I think I just wanted somebody to come along that felt like undeniably different, you know, and that I
Yeah.
could, you know, you're not lost on me is like somebody like I could just recognize as like different and special, and I could see you, and I guess in turn like she could, you know, see me like really. And
Mm-hmm.
because with the apps, it's just not really conducive to that either.
There's so many now.
There are so many.
It's so confusing. And each one has a different attitude to it. You could write an entire album based on dating apps, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the album is called American Love, and the apps are definitely like, they're in there. I mean, it's a part of it now, you know, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I actually like I've had a pretty good experience with the apps. Like, not to like bash all social media and technology.
Right.
But it's just different, you know? And I think like I'm like the kind of person, or I guess like this is generational. Like I grew up without the apps, so I've dated pre-apps, and
Right.
then I've dated during the apps becoming like the thing.
Right.
And I'm just so like it was just such an adjustment of the heart, I guess, just to like kind of learn how to deal with just like so many more. They're like false options. They're not
Options?
actually,
Yeah,
but they're
I was
not
like,
real, right? Like
right.
because once you meet them in person, you're like, we're just not compatible at all, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to meet them to figure that out. And if it was the real world, you could figure that out in 5 minutes. But you might have to go like on a pretty awkward date nowadays, you know, to really kind of know
Well,
if you
like
guys hit it
you
off.
alluded to before, like everything is so filtered and so highlighted that it's like, you really don't even know what you're getting until you are face to face, in front. I dated in the apps, the first generation of the apps. So
Oh,
I got married like back in '06.
got it.
Divorced in 16. So there was a whole previous generation to it, which I felt was like maybe a little more authentic. But it
Was it
always,
like the sites like eHarmony and stuff like that, which I feel like were a
there was
different
like
thing.
two or three back
Or
then.
two or
Yeah, it's
three,
definitely
yeah.
not what it is now. Like now it's
Yeah.
like literally like Uber Eats. Like I want a 6'2", blonde, blue eyed. Yes, I'll order
That's such
that
a
up. Have it at my door.
I feel like that's like a funny SNL sketch or something.
Write a song about it.
Right, a song.
Let's do it because you've got
Love on
endless
Love on Demand.
possibilities.
There you go. That's
Love
your
on
song
demand.
title.
And better not be AI. That's all I'm
Oh
saying.
God, never, never. Until it replaces me. But I'm gonna go
No.
down swinging, fight the good fight.
You're a couple years into this now, and then obviously you're feeling confident, and you're putting out great music, and you're 3 singles in. You discussed having the eighth and the ninth, so you've got a whole map. Like you've got it kind of planned out in your mind. Are you still kind of using the old kind of album? That's not hierarchy, but like the mental picture of like Adele did something very interesting when she released her last album, and
Yeah.
it was like, if you're going to playlist this, you have to playlist it in order.
Oh, that's interesting. And she like aren't her albums like 25, 30 or whatever they are like
Right.
so like there's like a rationale behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm always like I'm a bit of like a planner, you know, and so like
Hmm.
I'm still finishing up the first album, but I'm already thinking about the second, you
Mm.
know, and so like in my mind, it's just easier to have kind of like a catalog, and so you don't have to do everything like last minute, you know,
Right.
and so like you don't have to rush things, and you can let things like sit with you and take your time, and because it's tough. I mean, like the algorithm like kind of needs a song every like 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, you know, which is like
You're so
a
funny.
ton.
You talk in terms of analog and old school, but then you drop a logarithm on me. Like, I need a song every 6 weeks. Like, you're in the game. Like, you
I'm
are
in
like
it. I'm
truly an
so in it
artist of
now.
2023. Like, you're an old school artist who's like living in 2024 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just about sums it up. Like, I think that's part of why I almost didn't become an artist because I'm
Mm.
like, I don't want to play this whole game, and it's definitely a game, you know. But I also
It's
was
a
like,
game.
then the songs will just never be heard, you know. And so
And
I think
you
that was the
wouldn't
price to pay.
fulfill what it is that you want to do. So
Yeah,
sometimes you have to step into the uncomfortable to get to do the fulfillment.
totally. And there's like, I mean, so many like fun parts along the way. Like, it's super fun. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, getting to like drink
To hang out,
wine
drink
and
wine.
sing songs and like, you know, therapize. Like, you know, I love it.
Therapies.
I love it.
I think we could go on for hours, but we have about 10 minutes left, and it goes by so
This
super
needs to be a
quick.
2 hour show.
Or we just need to have you back.
I'm around. I mean, I don't even need to be around. I could do this from anywhere.
Content. Well, especially while you're stuck inside with all the smoke outside. But I did want to ask before we get completely
Ask away.
sidetracked again because we're having the most fun. Um, you grew up in Mexico. Then you guys moved to Boston. Are there any two more opposite places to grow up in?
No, no. I mean, I
Did
think like when you said like you're like old school and new school and like I'm like all like everything in my life is like in betweens. You know, like
geographically that's old school and newer school because Boston's still one of our oldest cities, but it's still so new
it's
compared.
so different. I mean, people in Mexico are really laid back and very warm and inviting. East Coasters, not so much. And I say that like with love because I'm totally an East Coaster now, and
Sure.
I guess I'm a little bit closed off in that way. But you know, it was a total adjustment. But I think it just kind of living in the in-betweens, you're forced to have like a broader perspective, and I guess, that's why the album American Love was like, I felt like I was seeing dating and American kind of romance in a different light, because I didn't take anything for granted, and it was just so different for me, like the way that people interacted here. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I don't know how you kept track of my whole like story, because it's all over the place. I think that's kind of like
It's the
my
beauty
thing,
of it,
I
aren't we
guess.
all? It's
These
like
days, yeah.
you've got a lot of geography that you've covered in yours, but that's a very transformative thing to have happen. But I think, a lot of people have had things happen, in those early years that kind of, shift your perspective, or, just shift literally physically where you are. That's going to affect their lives, moving forward. So do you feel like that influence makes it into the music, even from growing up in such a different kind of environment?
Yeah, 100%. I think there's something about Spanish that is just like a very like passionate language.
I
And
was going to say
like,
romantic, but
yeah, but I think that's like from Rome and Latin or whatever that is. So it's not the right kind of romance language, but there's totally something to that. Like if you listen to Spanish songs, they would sound so corny in English. They're like so over the top, like
super passionate.
life or death love, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Like I would die if you left me. And I
We
think
would
that kind of
never
stuck
admit to
with
that
me.
here.
No, it's like way too real,
Yeah.
But love is kind of like it's that high stakes, and I think that stuck with me. It's very Leonard Cohen too, who was like, if you're gonna do something, like know the stakes, because I mean, finding a partner is like one of the most important things you will ever decide on, and so I mean, I don't know if it's actual life or death, but at least metaphorically, it kind of is,
Sure.
and it's a big part of like kind of like Spanish passion or Latin passion, and I think that totally stuck with me, and which is why it can be a little intense. And I think all my buddies are like, chill, man, but I'm just not wired that way. I'm just not, or
You're
at
like,
least I
"I'm
wasn't brought
sorry.
up that way.
I feel things. It's my upbringing.
Yeah.
I think maybe we can squeeze 2 more songs in.
Let's do it. Okay.
What are you feeling doing 2 to back to back? Do you want to like stop down in between?
We can do 2 back to back.
I love,
The storying.
I do love the storying. So what would you like to jump into here to wrap up the show?
Well, then I guess I'll do a couple. I'll do the song I just released called About You, which I co-wrote with Justin Guswell. He's an amazing writer, producer, artist himself. And then I'll close out with the title track, American Love, which is not released either. So
We're getting all these musical nuggets today. I absolutely love
I
this.
know. Well, you know what? Like, what was I supposed to do? I only have 3 songs out, so I had to play unreleased material.
You could have taken the easy route and done covers, but I'm so glad you're
That's
not.
true.
Because
That's true. But see, that would be learning a whole nother song. I think it's just easier to just do my own stuff, and I probably couldn't pull it off.
I feel
But
like
yeah,
our work
so,
ethic is, very relatable.
yeah, just work smarter, not harder. But
Ilan,
yes, these are my next 2, About You and the title track, American Love, which I guess is like the first time I'm like performing on air, which is, and oh yeah, it's gonna be a podcast. It's gonna be recorded, so it's gonna be like
it's
on
kind
the
of a big
books.
deal.
Yeah.
This is a musical baby about to happen. So while you set up, allow me to thank everybody for being here with us in the Jam Happy Hour. I hope you've been enjoying the music with Ilan Bell and getting to hear songs that really haven't been put out yet before. So just a treat and a treasure for us to enjoy here. So thank you. Take it away.
Okay. So this next one's called About You.
I was thinking of the last time I saw you. Didn't know it'd be the last time at all. But your voice is as clear as the sky is now, and as loud as the phone when I got that call. I can't see you now, and I can't believe it. All I do is try to relive it. Every novel, every song, every other love gone wrong. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's always been about you. Now the lights, they're all dim in all these halls, and I meditate and pray with you in my heart. There's a stone on my chest I've tried to ignore, and I close my eyes to go back to the start. I can't see you now and I can't believe it. All I do is try to relive it. Every novel, every song, every other love gone wrong. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's always been about you. It's like the writers got together to make their stories better. Now every novel, every song, every other love gone wrong, every stranger on the street, every night and every dream, it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's always been about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's always been about you. All right, this next one is called American Love. I'd walk the longest highway to walk you back home, wake you up from every nightmare, unless you'd rather sleep alone. No, you don't need forgiveness, 'cause you can do no wrong. But sometimes you get so distant, it's almost like you're gone. Are we running out of dreams? Am I just a phase? I'm trying to get a read on you, babe. American love, American love, American love. What am I so scared of? What am I so scared of? And I'd cross the burning bridges to be by your side. Sometimes I get nervous, there's another heart on your mind. You're standing next to me, but are you really here? Is there something I don't know? Can soulmates disappear? American love, American love, so scared of? What am I so scared of? You're never second best, ahead of all the rest. I can't believe my luck. I'm just trying to keep up. American love, American love, American love. What am I so scared of? What am I so scared of?
That is really very an emotional song. That is like
It's raw,
it's raw. That's the word I was trying to think of. Like, yeah, I think that's what
especially
a lot of people.
acoustic like this. Oh my God.
How
I
is
was
it
like, oh
normally?
boy. Well, you know, I produced it out. It's got a bunch. It's got drums. It's got guitars. It's got a bunch of things. But this one, you know, just me and my piano and the voice, you know, which is
It
like the
gives it a
chorus.
very different feel because it comes across as very emotional is not the word. And raw is not the I'll find the word. But it's just like
Vulnerable.
vulnerable is the word. There it is. So yes.
Yeah, I held nothing back on that one for
And
sure.
about you as well. Also another very so you're definitely coming into a season of more to come though, because American Love is the project, the
Yeah.
full project out later this summer. The singles are coming out, you know, as you feel them deemed ready. What else can we see next coming from you?
Well, you know, just kind of if you want to follow along, you know, I think the links were down there somewhere. I was performing,
Yes.
but I think I saw them kind of like a news tag.
They're right there.
Look, on cue. Wow, whoever's producing this live, like props.
Emily's
That was
amazing.
amazing. Oh, that was
Totally.
Emily. Props, Emily. But you know, whatever works for you, I'll be posting, you know, a single around every couple months,
Yeah.
and you know, the album should be out end of the year, early next year, and you know, second album already in the works.
Already in the works, which I love. If you ever find yourself in Napa, please come by. We would love to have you perform with us or just hang out and enjoy some wine with us. We're going to absolutely be watching your career. And if you ever would like to come back and have another happy hour with us, you have an open invitation.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And,
definitely take you up on that. Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your stories and your songs and your vulnerability with us, because authenticity is key.
Definitely is. Thank you for having me. Let me do one last
Let's
cheers.
cheers, shall we?
Let's absolutely cheers.
Clink
Cheers.
to you.
Virtually for now, but hopefully at some point I'll make it over to Napa. That would be amazing.
That would be fantastic. Good night. Cheers. Enjoy.
Good night.